share my screen and we will get started with today's AI Mastermind. Right. So firstly, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's AI Mastermind for Business Leaders. It's a real pleasure to have the opportunity to host this event, and I'm happy to see you taking the time to learn about how AI can impact you and your business. We're at a pivotal moment in the business world where the integration of artificial intelligence is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. AI is transforming the way we operate, compete, and grow. It's important to know it's not just about automating tasks or analyzing data. It's about empowering every individual in your organization to achieve more, innovate faster, and stay ahead in a rapidly evolving business landscape. Today, I'm here to show you not just the potential of AI, but also how it can be harnessed to drive your business forward, making AI not only an indispensable tool, but accessible for every person across your organization. My goal is to take the mystery out of AI, specifically frontier models like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, or Claude. I'll show you how they have a tangible impact on your strategic decisions. Before I continue, can you guys see me in this recording? In the screen share, yeah? Okay, great. Cool. So a few reminders before we get into the details. So everyone's microphones will be muted. There'll be time for Q&A. If you have any questions that you don't want to ask live, you can put them in the chat and we'll pick them up and answer them during the Q&A session. There'll also be a recording made available to all the participants in today's session. So don't worry about frantically making notes or anything like that. Great. So my name is Nina Jambalvo, and I've been in tech and leadership roles for the past 10 years, including serving as a chief technology officer and also founding multiple businesses. Over the past year, I've spent more than 100 hours working with professionals on how to use ChatGPT more effectively in their roles. Today, I'm excited to share some of that knowledge with you in the hopes of inspiring and changing your perspective on what's possible today, but also what will be possible in a couple of years' time. So first, a little breakdown of the mastermind today. We'll be answering what AI is, why it's so important for business leaders. Then we'll dive into a live demonstration of AI in action, solving a real business challenge. This session is interactive, so expect opportunities to steer the demo. After that, we'll have an interactive Q&A session. And I'll finish by telling you more about how I can help you kickstart your AI journey in your business. This AI Mastermind is designed to be both informative and also practical. By the end of our session, you'll not only understand AI better, but also have concrete ideas on how to leverage it in your business. So, without further ado, let's get started by demystifying what AI really is and exploring the impact it's already having on businesses around the world. We'll start with a misconception, one that we actually had just before the session actually started. Many people believe that AI will eliminate more jobs than it creates, a fear that is both widespread and understandable. In a recent State of Marketing AI report, we found that 47% of respondents believed that this will happen, with AI eliminating more jobs than it creates in the next 3 years. I actually really disagree with this, and I hope that by the end of this discussion, you'll also maybe start to understand why. This perception, unfortunately, can create resistance to AI adoption. The focus often shifts to potential job losses rather than the opportunities that AI presents. Interestingly, the same report revealed that 75% of the respondents' employers, they don't actually have any internal AI-focused training or education that they're currently developing. So although there's this fear, the employers are not doing anything to educate or provide AI literacy for the employees to actually leverage this in their roles. This statistic signifies a significant gap. While there's concern about AI's impact on jobs, there's little being done to equip employees with the skills they need to work effectively alongside AI. But addressing this gap, businesses can not only alleviate fears, but also unlock AI's full potential to enhance roles, create new opportunities, and drive growth. So, what is AI? We'll start with some basic concepts to set the stage for understanding what AI really is. You'll be surprised to learn that AI isn't as it seems, or isn't as new as it seems. Many forms of AI have been around for actually quite a while, but we've been using them every day in our everyday lives, but calling them by ultimately different names. So for example, what we refer to as algorithms are essentially machine learning models. These have been powering recommendations on platforms like Facebook, Netflix, and Spotify for years. And, Facebook, the Facebook algorithm, as people always used to call it, this has been around for like 10 years, maybe more, these machine learning models. So the next time you get a suggestion for your next favorite TV show, that is AI in action. In fact, Spotify even has an AI DJ, plays songs, introduces songs, says, oh, like this is your hit from the 90s. I'm not sure if anyone has tried it, but these are just examples of how businesses are incorporating AI to produce new, innovative kind of ideas and services and features. These algorithms or machine learning models, they analyze your preferences. From there, they predict what you'll enjoy next based on patterns in the data that they've been trained on. A bit more about that in a sec. Now, this is where things get really interesting, is with generative AI. This is where large language models, or LLMs, come into play. But while traditional machine learning models are great at making predictions or classifications based on existing data, generative AI can actually create new content, whether it's text, images, video, or even code, which ultimately is a significant leap forward in what AI can do. And ultimately, this technology in the current form and its current popularity has only been around for maybe 18 months, 2 years, with the launch of GPT. Of the combinations that we have on screen, how many of these have you ever actually tried to input or output within your role? Some of you may have only ever really experienced text-to-text, or you've tried to generate an image using some text, but there's actually a lot more possibilities with text-to-code, text-to-file. You might be working on a project and need to output a PDF. AI will do this for you. Voice-to-text, which I find actually very, very effective, and I use to help me create this webinar. I was chatting to the AI in order to write my script for today's webinar. And actually what this really does is encapsulate an authentic voice, because ultimately it's listening to me speak with my flow, with my words, with my knowledge and my experience. It also does image to text. So if you ever get stuck on something, say for example, you load a web page and suddenly an error pops up on your screen. If you take a screenshot of this and give it to ChatGPT, it will tell you how to solve it, what it's about, just by taking a screenshot without giving it any text at all. Then web to text, you can pass it a URL of any website, any blog. I actually did this with a client who wanted to create a teaser for their blog posts. We gave AI the blog URL, it created a teaser straight from that without giving it any additional context. File to text, again, I do this a lot with transcripts from meetings. I'll upload my transcript to ChatGPT and it will provide summaries, breakdowns. A lot of you might be used to this through Otter or Fathom or all these various AI note-taking apps that are starting to pop up. Also voice-to-voice, which I mentioned earlier, and also code to text, which if you give it a snippet of code and say, can you refine this? What does this code do? It will explain it to you. So what are LLMs? So put simply, the type of AI that can generate human-like text based on data they've been trained on. So you might have heard of ChatGPT or other similar tools. These are all powered by LLMs. But how do we actually make these models? There's 3 key components: computing power, neural networks, and data sets. So when I explain these, I like to give the analogy of training an LM is actually a lot like training a super intelligent student. Just like a student needs certain resources to excel, so does an AI model. But let's break this down. First, computing power is like brain energy of the student. The more energy they have, the faster they can study, they can handle more complex problems. If you don't have enough energy, they get tired quickly and they can't learn as effectively. In AI terms, that means that the more computing power allows the model to process more information more effectively and learn from that data more effectively. Then we think of neural networks as the method the student uses to learn. So whether you're just memorizing facts or understanding material by making actual connections between the knowledge, the more sophisticated the learning method, the better the student or AI becomes at mastering complex subjects. Finally, data sets are like a student's study material. A larger, more diverse set of study materials allows the student to learn more thoroughly, meaning they can generalize their knowledge to new situations. If the data set is too small or not varied enough, the student might struggle with new or unfamiliar problems. So using this analogy, essentially, we can really understand that there is some kind of mystery around LLMs and how they work. We don't fully even understand, if I go back one slide, how neural networks actually work, what is actually happening under the hood when it's figuring out and learning itself. But what we do know is that the more computing power we give it, the more information, more high quality data sets we give it, the more sophisticated the LLM comes out. And ultimately, that is the breakthrough that we made with LLMs and GPT in the recent years. So at this stage, I'd like to ask you guys a question, which is, does AI seem impressive at this stage for you? You should hopefully get a poll pop up for you. Okay. And I'm going to end the poll there because we've had all respondents. So interesting enough, we have a 50-50 split between yes and no of does it seem impressive, which is actually really interesting. And I'd be very intrigued to know at the end of this, if we ran the same poll, whether we'd still get the same answer. I'd like to think that it might change. So what we've covered at the moment is the basics of AI and how large language models are created, like GPT. But it's also important to take a step back and look at where we are on this journey. What we're seeing today is just a moment in time, like literally just a snapshot of a much larger, rapidly evolving trajectory. The launch of GPT was a significant milestone, but it's important to remember that it's simply a moment in time on a curve that has been exponentially growing over the past few decades. AI has been advancing at an incredible pace, especially if you've even been watching it over the last year. It's really so much more capable of when it first came out over a year and a half ago. AI has been advancing at an incredible pace, and this progress really isn't slowing down. When we look at the history of AI, we've seen that advancements have been accelerating. If those advancements continue at the same rate, the capabilities we're seeing now will seem rudimentary compared to what's coming, just in the fact that what we see now seemed crazy 2 years ago. In fact, many experts believe that AI will soon reach levels of sophistication that can rival human-level expertise across various domains. This exponential growth means that AI we're working with today is only just the beginning. The graph that you're seeing on screen is actually from an AI researcher, an OpenAI researcher. This was about a year ago that he posted this on Twitter. And actually, we're probably quite a lot more advanced than a smart high schooler at this stage with the latest GPT model or the latest Claude model. So already we're seeing evidence that this is only just the beginning, and you sneeze and it will already be more advanced. Great. So now for the more exciting part. We've explored the fundamentals of AI and contextualized where we are on this journey. It's time to see AI in action. I'm going to walk you through a live demonstration that showcases how a GPT model can be used to solve a real business challenge. The purpose of this demonstration is to give you tangible examples of what AI can do for your business right now. Whether you're looking into streamlining operations, enhancing customer experiences, or making more informed decisions, AI can play a crucial role in achieving these goals. So, are you ready to see what AI can really do? Docus, could you send the poll? For today's demonstration, there'll be two parts. I like to call these the deliverable and the problem, as I believe that all work that we are required to do as part of our roles will fit into these two categories. The first is a GPT that covers a deliverable. So what you'll see in the poll is I sell a product that helps a person or a role achieve a result. So as an example, you might have something like, I sell SaaS software to help you take notes. This will help salespeople achieve 300% increase on sales because they can review their work or their sales meetings. Once we've had some answers, I will move on to the live demonstration. I'll stop sharing and share my GPT. So we start with the account manager for a AI marketing agency. The goal of this is to produce a high quality, high converting email sequence for your ideal customer. I think we've had an answer, so let's end it there. We'll use this as the example. What have I done? In fact, Dockers, could you send me what the answers are for the poll? Cool. Once we have that, we'll start the... Why can't I see this? Sorry, guys. I'm unable to see the poll results. Sorry, guys, just a second. Having a technical issue. Unless the person that answered would like to unmute and just tell me what they said. That might be easier. I sell something. Yep. Fine. All right. Let me quickly. Services. Okay, let's have a look. Services to companies that want to hire people, hire staff. And what's the result of working with you? Do they get they recruit everyone within record time, or what's the benefit of working with you? Because these are going to be for your sales email sequence. Access. Got 10% of workers. Okay, so what we'll do now is the GPT's been set up to essentially run through what a traditional marketing agency may do when they get a brief. So the executable or the deliverable at the end, as I showed in the slides, is to produce a high converting email sequence for your ideal customers. So the first thing that it does is it sends us over to a psychology expert who will do an analysis of the triggers our customers use when making purchasing decisions. So let's see what we get. So the first thing it says to us is, what are the dreams of our potential customers? So high caliber teams, build in a workforce. So this is the dream of the company that you would ultimately be trying to target using this email sequence. They want to build, their dream is to build a workforce composed of the top 10%, efficient hiring process, reducing turnovers, enhanced company reputation, long-term growth, right? Past failures, poor quality candidates, slow hiring process, high turnover rates, inadequate screening, wasted resources, right? What are their fears? Missed opportunities, reputation damage, high cost, dependence on agencies, future growth, right? Suspicions, quality of candidates. Are there any hidden costs? Maybe you overpromise and you underdeliver. Lack of understanding, long-term viability of working with recruiters. These are all things that they might be suspicious of when you are going to be targeting them. So enemies, competitors, internal HR, budget constraints, previous experiences, time pressures, right? I don't know. Yeah, is that spot on? Cool. So through this methodical approach, we can actually, all we've given the AI is, what do we want to sell? Who do we want to sell it to? And what is the result that they'll get from, buying my product or service? So we continue. The next part, it goes on to the brand experts, the storytelling experts. So we now have a hero. So the target audience, companies seeking to hire, particularly those aiming to access the top 10%. These are the problems they have. External problems, difficulty in sourcing and hiring top-tier talent. Internal problem, frustration, anxiety about wasting resources on poor hires and slow recruitment process. Psychological, philosophical problem, the belief that every company deserves to access the best talent, right? That's obviously a problem because not everyone can. Meet your guide, your company. We understand the frustration of sifting through countless resumes only to find the right candidates are elusive. Authority, with a true proven track record of connecting companies of the top 10%. So that's basically why would they work with your company. Who gives them a plan? Discovery call. Book a call with us. Tailored recruitment strategy, ongoing support. So you give them a plan, basically, of action to be able to work. And what are those call to action? Book a call, transition to action, download our free guide, how to attract the top talent. Again, giving you suggestions of materials that you can produce in order to effectively convey this message. That helps them avoid failure and ends in success. So are we ready to move to the next step? Yes. So the next step, it actually hands it over to copywriters. So these are individual people in the chain that ultimately, in a traditional sense, you're passing what do we want to do? Right, let's create a brief. Right, who is the target audience? Right, let's actually draft some emails now that we can have a look at. So it now asks us how many emails we would like. So I'm going to say, just for the purposes of demonstration, just 2 weeks. 2 weeks of emails. And in fact, I'm going to give it to the AI to decide what is a reasonable frequency of sending out these kind of cold email sequence. However many emails you consider appropriate. Fine, let's see. So great, for a 2-week campaign, a sequence of 5 emails should work well. This allows us to build a rapport, provide value, address concerns, and create a sense of urgency without overwhelming your prospect. So, I mean, this is very empathetic. Like, if its goal is to allow you to sell volume, it has the nuance to understand that you can't just flood people, which is actually really clever. Cool, so email 1. Unlock access to top 10% of talent for your company. I hope this email finds you well. My name is your name. I specialize in helping companies like yours achieve, so on. So I understand the challenges. Let's set up a quick call. So it's quite direct. It's not too long-winded. Addressing common concerns. The next email, building trust and authority. Obviously, we can read through these, and there's quite a lot to take in. But ultimately, AI can produce these quicker than we can process them. So we are actually the bottleneck in this workflow. So overcoming objections, creating urgency. The key thing that I'd like you to do, Craig, is to really look at this and say, measure where you think this would be, and you would likely refine it, right? So this is just the initial draft. What happens next in the process is we head over to our creative director. I might actually zoom this in because I realize that it's actually too small. Maybe not so zoomed. So it's now reviewing the drafts. Improvements, consider adding specific example of a company, which is pretty good, right? It's like a case study or like a proven success story. Emphasize the dream of building a high caliber team, reference the desire to create a workforce that gives them a competitive edge. Again, improve for the next one. Include a brief mention of how to tailor your approach to match the company's specific needs, which can alleviate generic kind of solutions that are coming their way. And by the way, we'll actually see what it does to change this. So ultimately, it's made a whole bunch of suggestions. It's now going to pass these suggestions back to the copywriter, who will now draft our final versions of our emails. Give it some time to think. And as you'll know, this is ChatGPT 4.0. If you were using 3.5 or back in the day 3, you would have had to wait like a minute, 90 seconds. We can almost do this demonstration like live. Like we can't keep up with how quickly it starts to write once it's had its like 10 seconds of thinking. And sometimes it doesn't even take that long to have a think. Right. So if you remember the suggestion that it made, consider adding specific example. So, and also like the tone of dreaming a high caliber team, of building a high caliber team. So let's see what the message gave. I specialize in helping companies like yours achieve. For example, we recently worked with a company who were struggling to find the right candidates. After partnering with us, they successfully built a team that increased their productivity by 30% within 6 months. And again, as a draft, you might have relevant statistics, relevant businesses that you can then say, oh, by the way, for email 1, I actually worked with this company and this was the actual result it gave. Great. it will then just give you a new draft. Cool. And then the next one. So ultimately what it's done is actually refined all of these based on the suggestions. The other part of this is if you wanted to, at this stage, at the point where we said, okay, yeah, I'm happy to go back to the copywriter. If you had your own suggestions, right? Or even at this stage, you might say, oh, I don't really like the tone in email 3. Just say, right, this is what I like. This is what I'd like to do. And it will update it for you. Cool. So we basically have 5 emails. So if I wrap up this now, the next thing that it will do is it will itemize, this GPT will itemize the breakdown of how long it might actually take to do this in a real world environment. In business where, maybe in a startup environment, it's a bit different. You wouldn't have like 5 different people, engaging and passing work, but in a much bigger environment, say a medium-sized business, you will actually have individuals that will have individual responsibility to provide that deliverable and pass it on to the next person for refinement. So this has gone through. It's saying that the copywriting might have been 10 hours, total hours revisions from the thing 4 hours. Again, whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. Depends how much time you spend doing your work and the context and all the other resources that you might have. So based on this, what it's saying is running this process has saved us $15,000. Which actually, a lot of the time, this is an underestimation. This will be the same for every single deliverable that you have in your role across all your responsibilities. Cool. So that's the end of this demo. I will now stop presenting and we'll move on to the second part of the demonstration. So if I go back to the slides temporarily. So this is the demo that we've just done. Cool. So the next one is the problem. So
Nina, can we ask a couple of questions on that demo?
Once I finish this one, we'll be able to ask all together. We can run through. We can always come back and so on. Cool. So the next part is a GPT that I've created that's quite relevant to this kind of topic of AI adoption that we're covering today. So the scenario: imagine that you are a business leader at a mid-sized business, maybe say 150 employees. You've heard about AI models like ChatGPT and how they can transform your business. And ultimately, you're looking to leverage AI, but you're unsure where to start. What we've done is created, I'm just going to end this poll because it's a bit too early. What we've done is create a GPT model that specifically follows a methodical approach to problem solving. This approach is designed to help you navigate the process of AI adoption in a structured and effective way. So this is how we'll proceed. First, we'll refine the problem by using interactive multiple choice questions. Then I'd like to get some audience participation. So there'll be another poll that hopefully comes through. Once we've clearly defined the problem, the GPT model will suggest 5 potential solutions. Then we'll go through these options together, discuss which approach suits our needs best. And after selecting the most suitable solution, the GPT will help us create a detailed action plan. This plan will outline the steps needed to implement the chosen solution. And then finally, we'll execute the plan to showcase how AI adoption can be smooth and successful in your business. Cool. I will switch over my screen to a new GPT that I have created. Hopefully now you'll get a poll. So as part of this exploration, the first question is, what is the primary goal you're hoping to achieve by adopting AI in your business? Is it A, streamlining operations and improving efficiency? 2, enhancing customer engagement and experience? 3, generating data-driven insights for better decision-making, or all of the above, or other? So if we could put out that poll. I was not part for you. What would you have picked? Would be B. Right. The other one that came in was D, which is all of the above. So the solution should cover and incorporate B for you. Cool. So at this stage, we've essentially starting to do the problem refinement. Usually when you go to ChatGPT, you say, I'm trying to do this thing and I can't do it and I'm stuck, right? it doesn't understand the context of what you want. It only understands based on kind of this short description. So what we do during this kind of problem-solving GPT kind of exercise is allow the GPT or the AI to understand and refine the problem that we are trying to solve. So the next question is, what areas do you feel needs the most immediate attention? So we'll relaunch that poll. Streamlining operations by automating tasks, improving customer interactions through AI-driven tools, leveraging data analytics to uncover new business opportunities, all of the above or other. Cool. So we have A and D as results that came in from the poll. So again, we provide the feedback. It then dynamically asks us a new question based on our initial question that it asked us, based on the result. So which specific tasks in your operations would you like to automate first? Administrative tasks, customer service tasks, marketing tasks, data management tasks, or other? We can also have all, like we could just respond and say all, and it will give us an action plan of how we can cover all of those things. So let's go with that and just say E, all. Right, you're aiming for a comprehensive approach, automating tasks. Great. What is the biggest concern or challenge in starting this AI automation? So let's relaunch the poll. Choosing the right AI tools or platforms, ensuring a smooth integration with existing systems, training your team to use AI effectively, or D, managing costs and return on investment. We have an E, so if you put that in the chat window or just unmute yourself and speak it out, whatever your E was for your other.
For me, it would be all.
Yeah?
That's why I picked E.
All right, wicked. So let's go with all. Cool. Right, so at this stage, we've gone through the multiple choice questions, and now the AI will give us 5 expert solutions and explain why we should use them and what they would do. So the first solution is start small and scale. This is actually from a book called AI Superpowers, which the AI knows about. What it would do, begin by automating a single high impact task to prove the value of AI within your business. Once you have seen the positive results, gradually extend this across the business. Why would you do it? Starting small allows you to manage costs, minimize risks, define your solutions. Fine. Solution 2, choose flexible AI tools. Why you would do this, select AI tools that are flexible and can integrate smoothly with your existing systems. Fine. Solution 3, invest in team training. So human plus machine, reimagining work in the age of AI. Great book. Why would do it this way? Prioritizing training to work alongside AI tools effectively. This includes not just technical training, but also understanding how AI can enhance their roles. Why would do it this way? A well-trained team is essential for maximizing the benefits of AI, which is pretty cool. Leveraging AI cloud-based solutions and focusing on ROI-driven projects. So out of these 5 solutions, we'll launch that poll. Which of these solutions, and it can be more than one, personally, I quite like the idea of investing in team training because I believe that unlocking the power of AI really starts with the individual and the individual people within your business. So I would go with one, but maybe you want to start small and prove out some of the value. And so, maybe we go with, and also prove the ROI, because quite important, especially as business leaders, to make sure that the investment that we're putting in actually has a return. So we'll go with, I believe, it was solution 1, which is start small. Solution 3, which is investing in teams. And solution 5, which is focusing on ROI. So we've gone through problem refinement. We've now covered the solutions. What the AI will do next is actually create a 5-day action plan to implement those solutions. So task 1 of day 1, identify high impact tasks for automation. List out all the repetitive tasks in your operations. There is actually a prompt that can help us with this. Task 2, most impact tasks to automate first. Great. Research AI tools, prepare the team. implement the chosen tools, measure the initial ROI. And for each of these individual tasks across each of these individual areas, it will provide an action plan. So as we go through, we're obviously moving through this quite quick because we have to get through the demonstration. But what I'd like to then do is showcase how we proceed with this action plan. So the first thing that it will do is actually execute task 1 of day 1. So if you think about any problem that you try to solve, if you could refine the problem using AI, you can get the AI to provide relevant, useful solutions, create an action plan for how to actually implement those solutions, and then guide you through the implementation process. You have essentially become AI powered in your role. So day 1, list all the repetitive tasks within my business. Should we proceed with this task? Yes, but it doesn't know about our business. We haven't told it anything about what our business is. So what I'd like to do first is just see what the generic output is that it gives us that says all our operational tasks. So administrative tasks, customer service tasks, data management tasks, financing tasks. Okay, so again, fairly comprehensive. It's just a generic business, and these are all the kind of areas that a generic business might have. But what happens at this stage is, the way that I like to think of this is, you've defined a starting point, right? That's your problem declaration. You've defined now an endpoint, which is, what kind of solution do I want? Once you have the action plan, it's essentially built your car. You are the driver. At every step and at every turn, you have the opportunity to steer. You are at the wheel, and the AI is assisting you. So in that context and in that situation, we will provide feedback to say, this is not a general business. We focus on recruiting top 10% of talent. I'm going to use your example again, Craig, of top 10% talent for companies. Right. So what it will do now is, now that we've given that, we're essentially re-steering it to where we actually want to be going. So thank you for clarifying. And now it's actually giving us a list of repetitive tasks that are much more relevant to a recruitment agency. So candidate sourcing, candidate management, scheduling interviews, managing candidate databases, sending follow-ups, posting, marketing, client management, data reporting, administrative tasks. Craig, does this cover many of what your role does? Great. So we'll now move to the next one. So what it's going to do now is assess how impactful each of those tasks are if we were to automate them. So again, as we did before, it already has a predefined thing to guide us through this process. So we'll just hit yes and continue to work through.
Recording stopped.
Docus, are we recording this, by the way? Yeah. All right, great. Cool. So the next part, it then is doing an assessment of the potential impact of automating those
Recording
specific...
in progress.
Wasn't recording that whole time. All right. It's kind of thrown me. So anyway, so the next part, it's now going through and assessing each of those different tasks and seeing what the impact would be of automation. So automating the scanning of job boards and initial outreach can save significant time, ensure a steady pipeline of candidates. These are things that are all true. Automate scheduling and candidate management reduces time. Great. Automation potential high. Tools are available for automate. Again, all things that you probably already know. So let's continue to the next step. So we'll just confirm and move on. Great. So now we will research AI tools for doing this. So do you know and recognize any of these, Craig? Cost, constant price, typically higher due to the comprehensive nature of the platform. So as I say, like the AI knows, it knows everything basically. And so as you can see, this kind of process of like going through and saying, right, we're actually going to consider all these tools for different areas of our business. And you could just keep going, basically. The action plan should get you all the way to some kind of roadmap, some kind of, right, here's an actionable plan that we can use that will allow us to enable to adopt AI in our business, right? Cool. So I will stop sharing and we will come back to the presentation. And actually at this stage is the Q&A. So let me quickly just share my screen again. This one here. And we will move forward with the Q&A. Great. So questions, guys.
Got a couple. So firstly, in regards to when we worked through the recruitment example, the responses that the AI was giving was fantastic. I was pretty mind blown when I seen the responses coming through. Was that just generic GPT? Was that something that you had created beforehand, or was that just generic ChatGPT using its own information?
So there's kind of two parts to that. So the actual GPT has been created to follow that process. So the fact that it went with like a psychology expert first, and then it went to like copywriters and all these kind of things, that predefined process was already there. We didn't give it any context about recruitment. I had no idea who would be on this webinar today. So that is literally just a off the cuff. AI just begins to know about all those things and formulate it. The second part.
Sorry, go ahead. No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot what the second question was. Sorry, Emma.
So, and then in terms of information, where is brain power coming from? Is that from the web, or is that from people giving information?
These models have been trained on billions and billions of items of data all across the internet. So it covers, I think the latest model is like 40% of the internet. So a lot of that information is coming from people that have created information and put it online.
And is it dynamic in the sense that, is it learning about new information? Is it getting piped in with the most up-to-date information as well, or not?
So once it gets created, essentially they'll do a release like periodically. So the current version is ChatGPT 4.0. And then like a few weeks ago, they released like a 4.0 mini that's supposed to be like faster and gives better responses. So every iteration, they'll like improve the context that it can give, improve the functionality that can have. Like GPT 3.5, I don't think you couldn't send it any images. You couldn't give it, it couldn't search the internet. It can now search the internet. So for example, if I go back to that, if I reshare the screen that I had, if I wanted this for whatever reason, we'll go back to, for Demystifying AI. So if we said, I'd like you to research the pricing of which one should we have a look at? Say this one. Can you search their website? What this will now do is actually search the internet. So it says search in the web, it looks for their thing, it knows their site.
So before it wasn't searching the web when it was giving you a response, it was just going based on its own information that it has.
Going on the information that it's been trained on.
Okay, and then obviously the follow-up question here is, my problem case is actually in the medical sector. So there's going to be a lot of red tape of where I want to bring AI to kind of into practice. How do you prevent it from understanding that bad information is bad information and to ignore it, and or how does it validate the information it has going to present is true and accurate rather than just being, so if someone's coded say blue equals red and then it just responds saying blue, how does it know that no, blue doesn't equal red, blue equals blue? What fail-safes are in place?
So there's a couple of different things. So these models can hallucinate. So they can give you information that isn't true. And that's why there should always be a human in the loop. Whenever you're building systems, there should always be someone that is able to validate at the end to ensure that that thing doesn't happen. The other thing that you can do, which is actually, you can include this as part of your instructions. I'll give you another example because this is much more topical, and it maybe showcases a bit more of a real actual example of me giving GPT information. Essentially, this is a content creating GPT that I created to help me prepare for these webinars and these events, so that I can keep creating articles and posts and polls and all kinds of different things. So this follows my instructions. So I've told it that step one, the first question you should ask me is, what content week are we creating for? I operate my events bi-weekly. So I would be starting with, say we're going into the next week. So we're going to say week one. It will then give me another question. And let's just say Wednesday. So C. But again, you see a similar process of like multiple choice questions. I've instructed it to do a multiple choice question. It wouldn't organically just respond to me after we say, like, let's create a post, and just start asking me multiple choice questions if I hadn't already predefined this particular thing. If you post the same thing to like a new GPT, like just GPT 4.0, if I said, let's create a post, this is the response that you would get out of that. Sure, what kind of post would you like to get? What platform, topic, tone, audience, length? It just starts to say, what do you want? What do you want me to do? Whereas the other one that we were using to create the LinkedIn post, this is a predefined sequence that it's running through, in the same way that the other one where we were creating the email sequence was a predefined sequence. Essentially what you're doing is saying, like, you have access to all this knowledge, but I'd like you to focus on this path, on this thing. So for example, I might want to write a LinkedIn article for the Wednesday. And then what it will do in this context is ask me what the topic of the conversation is. So like, I already know that, I run this based on a topic every week. So all I technically need to do now, and I can show you this as part of this demonstration, is, let me just find my outline for my webinar. Outline. This one. So if I paste like next week's topic, or like a few topics down the line, right, topic. Say for example, like this. So this is the topic, and that is the title that I want for my webinar. And so cool, this is what we learned. So let's brainstorm. So I've now set it up to brainstorm, but I haven't defined the ideas that it will give me. Let's brainstorm. Kind of got stuck. Let's brainstorm. So like step 3 or step 2 or step 3 of what it wants is to brainstorm. So I've given it the instruction that it needs to brainstorm after it's learned about what type of post and what the title and what the topic of what I'm doing is. So cool, right? The future of AI, of HR. So AI tools, comprehensive guide, overcoming challenges. So then I have to decide, what is it that I wanted to write about for that topic? Maybe I'll use some of these suggestions. Maybe I could say, no, can I have some more? And it will then go, okay, here's another 3. But as I go through, the next step is to research. So then it will go and research that topic and those tools so that I have a grounding for the article that I'm writing. Cool. And so again, this methodical approach of like gradually building up the use case, gradually building up and refining the output that you're trying to get to is essentially the way to work with it. And most people don't do that. Most people don't realize that actually, like, it's your assistant. You can set it up to guide you through a process. In fact, you can use it to help define the process, then get it to guide you through the process, and then get it to actually execute on whatever it is that you want it to do.
Okay, that's helpful. Then my final two other questions. One is just touching on the methodical approach. So when you worked through GPT on the recruitment example, it gave a response, and then it critiqued its own response. Why did it not just give the correct response first time? Why did it have to give a response and then critique, which is great, but it just did something that it didn't have to do because it already had the information, right? Why did it do?
What I would say there is that it will do an attempt based on kind of, it has a responsibility to draft. It doesn't necessarily know like what the best possible answer is just yet. It just says, you asked me for a draft, give me a draft. You might then refine it. Or if you said, actually, I want you to give me feedback. How could I actually make this better? it will then, you can get it to check like this particular example that I have on screen. At some point, as you go through the process, there's a checklist that I've created to review it. And what it will do is it will create feedback based on that checklist to say, oh, make sure that in the article, there's a call to action at the end. Make sure that it's specific for my ideal customer profile, right? It just predicts what you want at any given point in time. So if you ask it to improve itself, it will go, oh, okay, maybe I can make this better then. And then it does it.
Is there a point? So with GPT, when I'm using it, I shouldn't always assume that the first response is the best response. I should push it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And you keep pushing it, and it'll just keep giving a more accurate. How do you know when to stop? Or will it just keep generating a better response?
Ultimately, like, you are the expert, right? Whatever it is that you're writing about, you are the subject matter expert. So it might get 80% of the way there to like a really good draft. And then you might say, oh, actually, I kind of wanted to cover this specific topic or this nuanced approach or this.
Okay.
And then that's basically what it will do. So if basically. Great. So this concludes our Q&A for today's session. Thank you, everyone, for your questions and for your feedback. As we wrap up today's session, I'd like to take a moment to share a bit more about who I am and why I'm passionate about this work with AI. My name is Nino Giambalvo, and these AI Mastermind sessions are an extension of my mission to demystify AI and make it accessible to everyone, regardless of their technical background. I believe that AI is a transformative tool that can empower everyone, individuals and businesses, to operate more effectively, make better decisions, and ultimately create a more productive and happier workplace. But to get there, we need to start by building a solid foundation and understanding of what AI is and how it can be practically applied in your role. That's where AI Integration Institute comes in. I founded the Institute with a clear vision to empower businesses by focusing on the human element of AI integration. While many are focusing on building complex solutions, we see the greatest potential in equipping every individual within an organization with AI literacy and mastery in their role. What this really means is being able to leverage AI to deliver all your deliverables, to solve problems that you come up with within your role. This means that our goal is to make AI not just a tool, but a key part of your business's DNA. Our mission is simple. We want to help businesses like yours navigate their AI journey, from the basics, understanding and training, to implementing advanced AI solutions that transform your operations. We believe that by focusing on people first, we can unlock the true potential of AI, creating workplaces where technology enhances humans rather than replacing them. If today's session has sparked your interest in AI and you're ready to take the next step, I'd like to invite you to a free AI strategy session. During this session, we'll work together to identify the best path forward for integrating AI into your business. Whether you're just starting out or looking to scale your AI efforts, I'm here to help you navigate your journey. What to expect from the sessions. So we will try to identify key AI high impact opportunities within your business, create a tailored AI roadmap to cover these initial opportunities, and create actionable next steps that ultimately give you a competitive advantage. The link to the strategy session will be in the chat, so please feel free to book a session with me now. And so that concludes our session for today. It's been really fun. I appreciate you guys for joining. I hope the session was valuable and it's inspired you to think about AI and how it could be part of your business's future. I look forward to continuing this conversation and hopefully helping you unlock the full potential of AI in your business. Thanks again and good afternoon. Have a great weekend, everyone.